TechRabbit here. So, continuing down the road of looking at different UI frameworks for Rust, and now we're going to look at gtk-rs. So let's get started. So let's start by looking at the entry on crates.io. So here we see GTK4, and the latest version is published as 0.96. And then it has the links for homepage, documentation, and the repository. So let's just have a quick look at those. So, and this actually has quite, theoretically at least, without having gone into all the details, it has quite good documentation, including a book and documentation on the latest version and the development version. And then let's see, open up the documentation link and see if that just links to the same place. No, it doesn't. So, okay, here's some partially auto-generated documentation. You can see that from the format directly from Rust, but then at least it seems to have a reasonable amount of every function and everything. All these things seem to be at least some kind of documentation. And then if we take a look at the repository, and the repositories for these projects, I mean, pretty much 99.9, yeah, all of them are GitHub based. So here we see that we actually have the link to the relevant GitHub site. And as this is based on JTK, I thought it had the link to the actual base module, but I don't think it actually has. Ah, it was here. Yeah. Right. Let's bring that. So there's one last link that we're going to look at. And this is the base toolkit that the GTK RS works with. So it's like its own organizational page. So and then so I'd say there's quite a lot of information available if needed. So a brief description is Rust binding for the GTK toolkit. Provides a comprehensive set of tools for creating complex UIs. It is more commonly used on Linux, but it also runs on Windows. And then some of the main features: multi-OS platform support. Yes, it does. And we're just going to look at the Windows part in this video. Native look and feel on Windows, sadly no. And then web application support. No, we can't develop web applications. So looking at the GitHub page, let's see if we can. Yep, it has in the main. It has tags. 196 seems to be the latest, and that was the one we found on crates.io, so that's good. So the latest one's published. It's got 2.1 kilo stars. And then the update or the activity on this project page is considered regular updates, so that's good. And if one wants to just come up a level and just have basically comment on the fact that does this have documentation, I would argue that yes, it has documentation. And then does it have examples? You can actually look here. I mean, we saw remnants of those on the other pages we visited. But for example, here we can just take a random check. I mean, this is at least a reasonable subset of different types of examples. So that's good. Then if we look at the setup for this, needs setup other than config in cargo terminal file, and yes, it definitely does. Setup is easy. No, it's by far not easy to get this. You know, the gtk-rs with all its sub dependencies installed and working on the machine. No, it's definitely not. So I put the links in the comments, you know, about the installation setup, and so what I thought I'd do is I'm going to give the message box example, and then if you want to hang around, then I will give a brief overview of how I got all the dependencies set up, so that I could actually run create the message box example. So let's have a look at the example program. So this is based on the platform dependencies already been set up. So then you need to the only thing, and in this case, when you have everything set up, then you just basically come into dependencies and say you're going to use JTK, and then this actually maps them to a specific version, and then the actual package name is JTK4. So in the programming and code, then it uses JTK, and then it has a build dependency, which is this package config on a certain version, and then it also needs this horrific build.rs file to get started. So this is unwrapping some configurations and creating some cargo entries. Not the stuff you want to deal with. So if we have a quick look at the program, and I've done like I've done in the other examples, that I've actually added a heavy dose of extra comments, so that one can actually follow the structure, and also possibly use this code as a simple basis for creating a more complex application. So in main, the first thing it does is that it creates an application instance with a certain application ID, and this is another style of programming, and we've seen this in previous demonstrations of other toolkits. They have their own style of doing things, and this uses so-called builder style. So what you have is you say like builder, and then it will be a bunch of activities, and then it will actually say build, that it will finalize the building process. So yet again, one sort of variant of how one does stuff. And then it will connect the activate signal to build UI, and then it will actually run the application. And then we can go down here and we can see the build UI. It takes the application reference, and then it uses this again, this concept of building an application window. And again, it's packaged between builder and build. So then it says builder, application is the app, the title, and then the default width and default height, and build. So it's not that complicated to understand. And then it creates a new button. and then it sets the button as a child of the window, and then I try to explain like why is it doing this sum thing here, and then it presents it, and then it sets up the callback. It will do some link, some pointer reference changes. Using down or to explain. This method converts a string reference into a tricks with this. And then here it's finally showing the message box. And then we have a show message box down here, which again it takes an application. And here we have the same kind of concept that, okay, this is a message dial, and then it's packaged between those two, and then it has these different transient for parent and model and button message type and blah blah blah. And then you have a connect response, anonymous closure that's set up for that, so you can actually get this close function to work. And then you hit. Finally it presents the dialog. So that's not a very complicated program, but as I said, I've added lots of comments here, so you can actually self-study this and possibly use this as a starting point. So now you understand so if you added more things to this, then it would be based on pretty much the same type of structure, depending on what type of widget you're adding. Anyway, let's see what it looks like when we run it. So I have to make some tricks to get it zoomed in. On my screen I've got a 4K display, and the window size isn't that large. But anyway, it creates this kind of a window with a very large push button that's basically the whole client area, and then you get this is the message box, and as you see it's not Windows native, and you can press OK, and then you get back to there. So that's how that looks. So anyway, that was that, and those that are not interested in the overview of the setup that I made to get it to work for the underlying subcomponents, then basically the video's over. But those that are more into details, then I will just give a brief run through, not in super detail, but a brief run of what I did to get it set up. I'll include that summary in the comments for the videos. So, not specifically a very nice experience to set up, and I tried to follow the instructions that were online. I succeed in getting it working with those. If you look at some general stuff, then there's glib and vulkano. They are actually part of the platform installation, but they're not used by the message box example, but I've still included them. And if you want to use those two components, then you need to add these dependencies to get them, Rust mappings for them. So you to start, you need to. This was the route that I took. There is another method described, but I was never able to get that to work. So I installed msys2, and that you can get here. And then I installed the full GTK library stack for Windows. I'll also indicate where you can actually get that picked up from. And that's as one big zip file. And, you unzip it into wherever you want, and then you add a path. And then you add a library mapping, library variable, and include variable for it. That's actually wrong. And as I said, the Vulkan is part of the platform. Not used in this example, but if you want to install Vulkan, then I've actually Vulkan SDK, then I've actually explained it here. The same thing, you need to set up the library mappings and include mappings. And then in msgbox then you use pacman, and then you need to install all these different packages, including this one here. And then I added a section where you can actually check the packages that are installed so that you actually have everything. So this is the list that I took from my installation. So then you can actually compare it yourself to see that you actually have the same, approximately the same list. And then you need something called Windows package config install. And then you need to check that it actually works. So I'll actually show where you can get it, how to extract the files, and then how to check. Hey, that jump. Windows setup on the command line. Oh, okay, then you can put it in the system environment also if you want to get access to it permanently, because it's needed in the build process. And that's where I have it, where I have the example installed, but you could have it somewhere else. Then you just do a clean and build and hope that everything goes well, and if it doesn't, then you can actually activate full backtracing. And then cargo profile development build override debug to true. And then you can actually look at the environment configuration and see that that's alright. Further configuration, cairo. I think that was just to check if anything turns up in this analysis. And then it's to run cargo run to get the example work. But I thought it was a bit fiddly to get the base platform installed, so not the easiest one I've seen, and definitely not enough to just add the reference and the terminal file and expect it to work. Anyway, hope this is, as I said, I'll copy paste this into the video comments so this give you like kind of a hint list how to get it set up. See you in the next one.